Stopwatch. You ready?
Welcome, everybody, to NPK Live. How are you, Barry? You look congealed.
Fucking knackered, you know. Yeah.
If you're going to look at me, turn your microphone so we can have this sort of conversation. You've missed me, haven't you?
No.
You have.
No.
You have.
Great without you.
It hasn't.
It has.
Afternoon, Indica, good to have you with us. So, it is 20 past 4, or as some would say.
4:20.
4:20.
Come on, Emma. Let's get on.
We're definitely having...
His new name is Emma. If Stephen was a girl, his mum and dad were going to call him Emma.
And what are they going to call you? If
They knew they were having a boy.
Why?
Because they did.
What were they going to call you if you were a girl?
They wouldn't have. I was a boy.
They surely have told you what your girl's name was.
No, mate. No.
Brenda.
No.
Definitely Brenda.
Bernadette.
Was it?
No. Half.
Brenda. That's what you was.
All good? Ready to go? Turn my voice up a little bit. Oh, got that everyone watching, the whole family. Are you ready to go? Are you going to be in the house that I built, in the booth that I built? I know people tune in every Sunday to listen, but even when business is good, we still manage to do the podcast.
So, it is podcast 177. Your answers, your questions. All your questions, answers are in my head. So, it is podcast 177 with myself, Steve.
Myself, Barry.
And it is 10 questions. Do you remember? Long-time listeners.
I'm going first.
Okay. Long-time listeners of the show will know that I've done this before with Thomas. We did 10 questions, 10 minutes. We've got 10 questions and a minute to answer them each. You've got to fill the full minute, Barry. So if you say, so that's my question, my first question. You don't get to look at them. Stop cheating. Ask the question, and if you answer it within 20 seconds, you've got to fill that other 40 seconds full of space. And if you haven't finished all your information, you've got to be cut short in a minute.
Dead slow with the answers. I'll just talk dead slow.
I thought Coachy was in the building for a minute then.
From Birmingham.
Coachy's not with us this week. It's half term and he has family commitments. So it is me, Joshua today. Joshua's got his headphones on. He's doing 2 jobs. Thumbs
Come
up.
on then, let's get on with these questions.
All right. Calm yourself down. Let's go to intro. Josh or Coachy, whoever's doing the post-production. It's intro now. Who've we got watching? 7 people watching. Good afternoon, Pete's Back Garden. Indica Head Shop, new start time. Makes sense. Absolutely, new start time. It was 4:20, absolutely on purpose. I just forgot to inform Josh. We had the mini breakdown. We do try our best to get on at 4:00. And we will make a concerted effort.
Commitments.
Yeah, and we will make a concerted effort for future.
Come on, then my timer keeps going off. Let's make a move.
Why are you starting it already?
I'm going to ask you mine.
All right. So, 10 minutes, 10 questions. Let's go. I want to see the timer as well. Put it on the desk when you've started.
Come on, I'll let you do the first one.
Okay. So, Barry, why is it important to pH your water? Go.
Well, it's important because... It helps with nutrient uptake.
Yeah.
A lot of things, really. I'm just dragging this out now. Loads of different things. If I got to really do a minute on this, why is it important to pH water?
Yeah.
It helps with nutrient uptake. It helps with nutrient uptake. I could say that over and over again because that's the most important thing. That's about it, really. I'll tell you a little bit about me while we're waiting for Steve's answer now. Yeah. Lad, have you been looking at my questions?
No.
Are you sure?
Positive.
You have, I reckon.
No.
You have. Well, it's important because it helps with nutrient uptake. That's the most important thing. Just keep that in your head. Everything else, forget about it.
You got 5 seconds.
To do what?
Carry on talking.
About what?
Nutrient uptake.
No, mate, look, it's 60.
Done. It's harder than you think, innit?
Oh, lad.
I told you about
You've been looking at my shit, and no, you have.
Oh, have I been looking at your shit?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Go now, let's reset that shit. See, I've give you the good one. See my questions I'd love someone to ask me.
Do you want to swap?
No, you ready? Correct me, or correct everybody on the right way that you use an AutoPot. Go.
AutoPot watering system. So the main thing is it's a bottom feeding system, and the thing that people do wrong is that they turn the tap on straight away. So they'll put the young plants in with not a very established root system, and they'll turn on the tap to the 100, 200, 400 litre reservoir, and what that does is it soaks the bottom half of the medium, and the roots have got to search for it. The media is constantly wet, which isn't a great thing. What you need to do is get the roots established first before you turn the tap onto your AutoPot. So the best tip is put your pot up with your small plants into AutoPot, water through for maybe the first 2 weeks of veg. Just let those roots get established. And then what I would do, I'd slowly start turning the tap on and off. I'd turn it on, let them flood, and turn it off. Let them water it, let it dry, and then turn it back on. And then when you get into flowering, second week of flower, you can turn it on, and you're all good to go.
Stop. Yeah, fucking knob. What the fuck was that?
That, Barry, was a perfect response.
Can I get involved in that just dead quick?
Go on.
Loads of people think that an AutoPot is you turn the tap on and you fuck off and just leave it, and it's not. It's a case of you go there, you turn the tap on, you let them all flood, you let them all drink for a little half an hour, then you turn the tap off and you let it have its dry days. Yeah.
And in flower, though, you can get away with having it because they're drinking
in
much
flower,
water.
In full flower, in peak. Yeah. You
can have them on.
That's enough of that now. Next question then.
So, next...
Is it me? Am I asking? No,
you. My question, mate.
Go on then.
When hanging heavy equipment, what's the best method and tools to use?
Wow, where have you got these fucking questions from?
Just 10 questions. 10 questions I'd like you to
hanging
answer.
Heavy equipment. Use heavy straps. I don't know, because it's an hard one to answer because I don't know what you're suspending and I don't know what you're sealing, what your walls, what your stuff made out of. I would say just use like heavy. Don't go using shitty pin nails to pin shit up with. Use heavy hooks, heavy straps. Rope ratchets are good for hanging stuff up with. Yeah, because they hold a good bit of weight in that, you know what I mean? But
would they go into
hooks?
Yeah.
Yeah. What hooks in the ceiling? But then if you put hooks in the ceiling, it's a concrete ceiling now. You put hooks in the ceiling. You've then got to drill it and put wall plugs in and then fix your hooks into the wall plug. So it's a bit of a hard question, that, to be honest with you, Steve, because everyone's got different materials in their house, haven't they? Some people have got grid ceilings, concrete ceilings, timber ceilings. So it's a bit of a hard one.
With the last 4 seconds, depending on what ceiling you've got, ask Barry.
Yeah.
And there's the minute done.
Message me.
Message him. At Barry_NPK. Let's get people messaging Barry with some questions.
I'm going to ask you mine now.
Go.
I know you're just going to blow me out the park though with it. I think, what the fucking hell is this doing? He's definitely looked at my shit though. The importance of pH and stay.
The importance of pH. And so, you're right. You said it's for nutrients uptake. But that's the most important thing,
I think.
Important.
Yeah, go on anyway. Blow me into it.
To go into it deeper, pH is important because it'll allow you to spot any problems before they become a problem. So sometimes, very randomly, out the tap, you'll add your nutrients that you've done for years and years, and you get your pH to 5.8, and it'll all of a sudden go to 5.2 or 6.5 because something's happened in the water.
Shit like that.
Straight out the tap, sometimes, very occasionally, something will come out the tap, or they'll have added something to the water that just fucks with the pH.
I could have said all this.
So measuring your pH, it's just a good system to get into for knowing what's happening with your plants. Also for measuring runoff, knowing that the pH in the root zone's in the correct point. And for things like DWC, constantly measuring your pH. If it drops off too quick, you've got root rot. And if it's gradually rising, especially in veg, then you know you've got a good healthy plant because pH rises in veg.
That's enough. Come on then.
What's yours?
Hit me with it.
So, what is better? Bottom feeding or top feeding your plants?
Now, that depends. Obviously, you're going to top feed when you first got babies, haven't you? Or whether you're doing seedlings or cuttings or whatever, you're going to top feed anyway to get the roots to the bottom. But my preferred method, my preferred method is to bottom feed. Only because once the roots get to the bottom, I like to bottom feed because I like to keep all the roots at the top, like full of air and stuff like that. I don't like top feeding once they're established because I think if you put feed water, let's say, over the top, it sort of pushes all the air out and can compress everything, and then you're waiting for it to dry. Where if you bottom feed, at least it's still got a bit of air in the cocoa. Let's say a quarter of it's wet at the bottom, at least it's still got loads of air inside the cocoa, so we can have a little drink, have a little breather, have a little drink, have a little breather. It's just one of them, isn't it? I prefer it though myself to bottom feed.
You prefer to bottom feed?
I'm a bottom feeder.
Do you got it? Stop. I'm going to leave you in silence. That was your minute done. I'd like to say on what I do like about bottom feeding is that it sounds wrong, doesn't it? Can we come up with a different name for bottom feeding? Because I sound like a proper
bottom feeder.
I'm a bottom feeder. What I like about bottom feeding is that it tastes great. What new name can we come up with? Low vertical fertilization.
No.
Low fit.
Anti-capillary action.
Anti-capillary action.
Yeah. That's what happens, isn't it, when you put a water over the top?
That's just capillary action.
Yeah.
From the bottom up.
So it's from the bottom up.
Anyway, let's move on. I couldn't think of a name for bottom feeding. But what I do like about it is when you normally have trays...
No, hang on, mate. You asked me.
I
didn't ask you. They don't want to know.
Can I tell you what I like about it?
No, mate, are you ready?
Okay.
What's best, a room or a tent? Go.
Oh, add easy ones, have you? Room or tent? Room can be cheaper. Well, rooms most of the times are a lot cheaper to do than your tents. Tent's easier to contain your environment. You get more... You're not helping, by the way. I'll start doing this to you, mate. Tents, you get more of your light hitting the plant surface than you will do in a room, because when you seal it, the light hits the sides of the tent and is mostly reflected onto plants. In a room, it's reflected and it can hit the walls because the rooms are a bigger space. But rooms are easier to control your environment when it gets hotter. So rooms with taller ceilings, the heat can be dissipate up into the filter a lot quicker.
In what tent or room?
In a room. But it's easy to get your humidity higher in a tent. So less light leaking in a tent, cheaper for a room. It's up to you, the grower.
Stop. It's actually easier in a tent than it is in a room, because if you're in a room, you have to build a room with inside the room. But when you build a tent, it's got everything to house everything for your room. That was the answer I was looking for, mate.
Oh, was it? No one's interested in the answer you were looking for, mate. So, that was my answer. Leggy.
See what you asked me before on how to hang stuff?
Yeah.
I just said put the fucking strap up and put whatever you're in, and that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Come on, next question.
It's you.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
You're asking me the question.
By the way, our plant's looking lovely and healthy.
Because I look after it. Next question, come on.
Oh, is it me? How much should you be feeding your plants? I'll give you a little bit more of a thing about that. So, how much should you be feeding your plants with EC, and how often should you be watering?
Just answer me quick. You ask me how.
No, but it's how much.
Just ask me that question.
How much should you be feeding your plants? Go.
Well, that all depends, mate. And how old your plant is, how big your plant is, and most importantly, you shouldn't just be going off the back of the bottle on what it says, because that's like another meal. It says put it in at 180 for 25 minutes, and we all know what other meals do. We go back, look at it and think, fuck that, leave it in for another 10 and whack another 10 degrees on it.
And another meal if you're bad.
So you really should be ECing, and you should be following, I say charts on the bottle, but not many of them come with charts. So you should really just go into your local store and ask them and tell them what you're growing, what the EC should be when it's a baby, what it should sort of peak to, and whether you should be dropping that off or not, you know what I mean? So ECing is the most important, because that's going to tell you how much feed to feed your plants, and it's also going to save you money, because a lot of these bottles tell you for 4 ml per litre and 5 ml per litre and 6 ml per litre, and if you do that, your EC is going to go through the fucking roof. So if you don't do that and you buy an EC pen for £80 off us, then you'll save yourself on feeding, because you won't use that much and you'll realise that.
Stop. Done. I thought you were commentating on the horse racing then.
Na.
So there you go. That was quite good, actually.
Yeah,
well done.
I'm fucking soft, you know. Are you ready?
Yeah.
LEDs and high pressure sodium.
Yeah.
Pros and cons, go.
In a minute,
Pros and cons, dead quick.
LEDs run a lot cooler than HPS. They produce the heat a lot slower than HPS.
Yeah.
HPS, on the whole, tends to get better plant canopy penetration. So you tend to get high yields with HPS because you're getting higher wattage, the better penetration. And up until recently, they were just a better all-round bulb. LEDs, it's the only thing you can be running. Other than the closed room systems, it's the only light you should be running in the summer in the UK because it just gets too hot. LEDs are more efficient. From today, I can actually say that LEDs are becoming so efficient that you could run a 450 watt LED and it'll give you the same yield as a 600 watt HPS. Downside of LEDs is that it's expensive, but it is becoming cheaper. Upside of HPS is that it's well known. We all know how to use them and you can get good, consistent results. LEDs are going to be the future, but you need to learn how to use them.
Stop.
I've done this before.
Who's this messaging me? Let's see.
Read it out loud, I dare you to. I dare you to read that text out loud.
I can't.
Why? Why not? Well, I'm going to start reading out my next question then.
Wait there.
No, you've got a minute to answer it. Who are you texting? Josh?
The legend.
There's got to be rules about this, mate. There's rules about being on time. There's got to be rules about using your phone in the office. And it's pink as well. You tart.
To make the girls wink.
Is it, yeah? What are you doing? Shh. What was that all about?
Nah. It's a private joke.
That was a proper weird thing to do. Especially
Private
if you're
joke.
listening to a podcast.
Hey, that's once he's a legend. Right?
Who is it?
The legend.
Who is it?
The legend.
The legend.
The legend.
Oh.
The one who we don't speak about, mate. It's
Like
the
Voldemort.
legend. Voldemort.
Go on then. What's your question?
If you put any old big birds, pal, I'll be able to drag them as well, the old tanks.
Oh, God, he'd be fuming I've played that.
We'll leave that up to people to guess.
Is it my goal now?
It's your go, I think.
Let's get this fucking shit going. Go on then, read it out then.
Well, I'll read out a comment. Pete's back garden. This is a good comment for
Pete's
me.
back garden.
B, you're getting ruined by Steve. He's bang on 60 seconds every time.
Fuck it. Science wanker.
Barry's gone in 60 seconds, mate.
I'm gone, mate.
Whose question is it next? Okay, it's my question. I've just done LEDs. So, when temperatures get hot, what can you do?
Oh,
Put the
shit.
timer on.
Wait there.
Look at you stalling for time now to think.
I'm not.
You are.
Ask me again. What did you say?
When temperatures get hot, what can you do? Go.
Pump loads of CO2 into your room. Fucking bigger extraction. Bit of air movement in there. Most importantly, what I'd do if my lights were getting hot, if I was on digital ballast, I'd turn them down. If I didn't turn them down, I'd fucking turn them off. If it was getting that hot, I'd buy fucking LEDs. I give them more water, less feed, because if the plant's red hot, it's going to want more water than it is feed. No one wants to sit on the beach in Barbados and eat a fucking Sunday dinner, you know what I mean? So
30 seconds?
I've rushed that, haven't I? I've said everything dead
said
quick.
really quick.
CO2, bigger extraction, aircon, CANNA systems, LEDs, turn lights off, dim your lights down, make sure you feed more water, so make the EC, if you're EC and don't read the back of the bottle like a pleb, make sure you lower that. That's about it, mate, I think. Yeah, I've said everything. Look at that, bang on a minute, look at that, in the garden, bang on a minute.
You're a fucking pleb, mate. Go on, next question.
Right. high pressure sodium bulbs. Oh, hang on, no, fuck that. Stop. He said. Oh, fuck. High pressure sodium bulbs and shades. When to replace them?
Cheap 600 watt bulbs, ones that you get for like 17.50, £20. They will tend to run out a lot quicker. So I would replace your cheap ones every 2 months, really. When you spend a bit more money, start getting into your Sunmaster range, £25, I'd still replace every 6 months. And then when you get into your Philips and your Sylvania type bulbs, your Green Powers, they cost you like between £33 up to £40. Then they could probably do you well up until a year, but I'd probably change them every 9 months. The better quality bulb, the more you spend on it, the less often you have to replace it. With your shades, you need to give them a good clean and a good dusting every month, or every time you're done. Every 3 months you should give them a good clean, and I would replace them once every year.
What happens to your bulb as it gets older? Come on, mate, fucking hell.
It starts giving out less power output.
And what else? Stop a minute, and it gets hotter. The longer the fucking bulb's in the fucking bastard shade working, it gets hotter and hotter. The older the bulb gets, it gets hotter and
was
hotter.
Was that the question? Read the question again.
It was like,
what was the question?
When to replace bulbs and shades.
Yeah, you didn't tell me what's the technical reasons for what happens when a bulb gets older.
You throw it in there as well, don't you?
Well, let me have a look at the timer. So I can play out in my head what I'm meant to do. Yeah, I need to look at it as it's going.
Next question.
Pleb.
Come on.
Pros and cons of soil, cocoa and hydro.
What feed? What?
Pros and cons of soil, cocoa and hydro.
Growing in it.
The media. What's the good and the bad of soil, cocoa?
Put the phone there.
Go.
Soil, cocoa and hydro, they all take different feeds. It depends what you want out of your plant and what plant you're growing. I'd say if you're a bit of an organic kind of guy, I'd go in soil, mate. If you're looking for a cheap fix, I'd go in cocoa, still do you proud.
Come on.
Soil holds nutrients, cocoa doesn't. I wouldn't even get onto hydro unless you've grown in soil and cocoa. Don't like fucking rock the boat or not. Don't get ahead of yourselves. Differences. Slow. what time are we on there?
Don't worry about that.
I'm clocking it here, lad. It sends it to me phone.
Come on then.
Yeah. Cocoa, soil's from the ground, cocoa's from coconuts. What are we on, lad? We've been well done a minute, mate. It's cheaper with soil because you lose less nutrients. Fucking hell, mate. Hey, lad. You know when someone throws something on your toes, lad?
Oh, yeah. By the way, this is like... Yeah.
But he hasn't seen these questions.
So last time that we've done them, I've written 10 questions and Barry wrote 10 questions. And Barry was like, what? Piece of piss me off. I'm writing down, done them like last week before I went away. And I've done mine this morning. And he was like, yeah, this fucking piece of piss will be done in 20 minutes. I was like, oh, okay. You obviously haven't listened to the last podcast. If you're interested, go back about, I think it was about a year and a half. I'm not sure what podcast it was, but me and Thomas did it. And it was a minute a piece and it was hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like, you've either got to fill the space with stuff. Like, you know what's bad about it? You don't want to go too in deep because you've only got a minute. And then you want to be brief. But sometimes you're that brief, you've got 30 seconds to fill. So if you're taking the piss out of us right now, I'd challenge you to do it with your mates.
Come on,
about anything.
Yeah.
Whose question is it?
Man.
Let's go. Do you want me to read it out for you?
Don't be looking, no, mate. I've written them down, mate. I can read them.
It's about pictures by the sides.
I'm thinking whether to just... I'm trying to think. I've got the question. I'm thinking,
What
change
order?
it up. And
Oh, he's going to mix it up.
benefits of an air comfort.
Go. Ear comforts, if you don't know, are a Bluetooth device.
Where'd you get them from?
That from Highlight Horticulture or from our shop for £30. So they are a Bluetooth device that records your temperature and humidity and data logs it. So you download an app to your phone called Air Comfort and you put it in with your pigeons, or you put it in your baby's room, or you put it in with your plants. Most people listening will put it in with the plants, and you'll be able to see. So rather than the thermometer, hygrometer, where you go in and you get your maximum, your minimum and the current temperature and humidity, download the app, and then when you go into your room and it all connects to it, you'll see that's what the temperature's been over the last 24 hours, 48 hours, 3 days, and you'll see what the humidity is. So if you've got a spike for an hour, but then it went back to normal, then you know you're all right and you're not panicking. On a max min, you panic because you think, oh, shit, my room is 32 degrees at its max, it's up the wall. Good piece of kit. I still had 0.4 seconds to go there.
You weren't getting that, no.
I was. Back near comfort. There you go. Do it again. Back near comfort. Done. A minute exactly.
I'll give you dead easy questions.
Well, whose fault's that, mate?
Fucking, I can't wait to do this again, you fuck bastard.
So we mentioned about soil, cocoa, and hydro media. What's the difference between soil feed, cocoa feed, and hydro feed?
Fucking hell, I could do a full podcast on that, Steve.
Just do a minute.
Soil feed tends to be a bit weaker. Am I correct? Answer me if I'm correct, because I might get it wrong. Soil feed is a bit weaker. More cocoa feeds is more minerals. Soil feeds you get, I think it's a bit more, not organic, but you can get a range of organics in there. But soil feed is generally a bit weaker because it's in soil. Cocoa feeds tend generally quite strong because it's going in all the time. What was the other one? Hydro. So that's like aqua and stuff. Yeah. I think aqua and that's still a bit weaker than cocoa, isn't it? Because it's like DWC and I think run to waste feeds maybe a little bit stronger because they're going right the way through the system. Look at
10 seconds. Go 10 seconds.
If you're in soil, you'll probably be tending to use more organic feeds, you know what I mean? But if you're in cocoa, you'll use mineral. Stop. I was going to get right into it then and get carried away with myself, and then the minute come.
What's that? You know what I mean? Like,
you know
what I mean? Like, so what's my question? Let's go.
Reusing cocoa, good or bad? How many goals do you get out of your cocoa if you do it?
Good and bad.
Good or bad? Reusing cocoa. I'm stopping this, lad. I'm stopping this, mate. No.
Okay.
Reusing cocoa, is it good or bad to do so? And if it is good, how many times can you use it? Go. And what's the pros of using it again?
Let's do the good. So reusing cocoa is good because it means you have to less strain on your back, moving all them bulky bags of cocoa. And it's good because a lot of cheap bags of cocoa don't tend to come buffered. So buffered means that they've had calcium run through them so that your pH stays at the point that you set it. So when you've done a full range of feed through your cocoa, it's going to be well buffered and it's still going to have some nutrients, and all that, any badness has already been washed out of it. So the second time you get to use cocoa, it tends to be quite good. However, the bad, if you've got a very well-rooted plant, then getting all of those, so you chop your plant, you pull it all apart, the work that you have to do to pull all the big roots out, run an enzyme solution through to get rid of all the dead roots, break it all down, put it into new pots. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass. So you've got to weigh up, do you want to do the work and save money, or do you want to spend the money and not do the work? Oh! Feel like dancing,
come on.
dancing. I'm good at this, you know. Good at this shit. It's good to be good at something, you know, Barry. You're good at building. I'm good at 1 minute questions. Let's see how good you are on the best time to flick your plants to 12-12.
What? How can you ask me
when
that?
Is the best time?
When is the best time? When the grower decides. When he's achieved his maximum. When it's achieved its maximum potential in vegetation.
Ooh.
Hey,
go on, give
you
some more
can't
passion.
really. It depends on. If you're in a pot size, you're going to be flicking to 12-12 quite early because you're in a small pot. If you're in a bigger pot, you're going to be doing a lot longer of a veg and you're going to be flicking a lot later. But most importantly, you never want to flick a plant that's got problems into flower because you'll end up with problems passing over into the flower phase, which you don't want. You want it to be stress-free. Most importantly, make sure that you don't veg your plants too tall, because if you haven't got the headache, you will be knackered when you come to do it and you will be burning your ass on the bulbs. More importantly, don't flick your plant too soon because you won't end up with the flowers that you'd like. Look at that, lad. Sick.
To be fair, that was quite a good response. That's the answer I was looking for. It's up to the grower and not up to the calendar.
No, that is the only answer.
It is.
Right. Next one.
Oh, I thought it was my question.
signs of overfeeding and underwatering. Signs of overfeeding and overwatering. Bam.
Overfeeding, for everyone watching live, is just there. For everyone watching on the podcast, I'm pointing it back.
Oh, yeah, I like that, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, you've been giving me shit.
I like that.
Overfeeding. So if your EC is too high for the stage of plant growth, or the temperature is too hot and you have an adjusted EC, then you will tend to get necrotic browning at the end of your leaves. A lot of people get this every run and don't really care, but it takes energy away from the plant.
Or you get chippy tits.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been swimming loads to get rid of them. But that won't help in plants, because if you swim loads or you put your plants in loads of water, that just exacerbates the problem, makes it worse. If you overwater, then you'll basically have less oxygen in the root zone. And if you're overfeeding while overwatering, you're just going to have a whole host of problems, and you'll come and see what the problem is, and nobody will be able to tell you, because it'll be like every problem under the sun. Underfeed is better than overfeeding. Underwatering is better than overwatering.
I did actually want the signs. What tell me one sign of overwatering?
Leaves will look as though they're wilted. The problem is overwater and underwater look pretty much like the same thing.
Exactly.
The only difference
That was the answer I was looking
the only
for,
difference
mate.
is pots are heavy or pots are light.
Come on then, let's go.
What is the benefit of flushing, and how do you do it?
The benefit of flushing, I think that's the wrong word. Flush, it should really be called finish, Stephen.
Oh, sorry.
It should be called finish, though.
Stop
there is
fucking-
no right way. It
That's
should be
the
called
question.
finish. The right time to flush is when you're happy. It depends on what you're growing, where you're growing it, and when you're growing it, and how big you've grew it, and what you want at the end of it. I'd say a good flush is a 2-week flush. I'd maybe use some sort of flushing product, like
CANNA flush.
CANNA flush. What's it doing? Is it Flora? No.
Flora clean. GHE.
Is that that's a flush, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a salt cleaner.
Like a salt cleaner for pipes, but I'm sure it's a bit
It'll
of a
do
flush
flush
as well. But most importantly, it's when you're happy and when everything is lovely and ripe. So it's a bit of a shitty question, Stephen, on sort of, but it is what it is. When you're happy, make sure you give it 2 weeks of water.
Stop.
It is what it is.
Look, he just got into. I did that a few times actually last time. Just as it gets to the last 10 seconds, you remember everything.
It's
But
when
I
you're
just
happy.
think, round of applause, everybody for Barry, because that was the best padding out of a minute I've ever seen. So what it is when you flush and you want to give your plants a bath, or you want to get them in the shower and give them a good scrubbing.
Come on.
Then what you should do is...
Next question.
Well, but actually, I prefer to call it good padding out, Barry. I like it. Is it my question now?
I wish you know what? I wish I had to give you this for me to answer these. Are you ready?
What?
Are you ready?
Go.
Oh no, wait there, stop. Reset. Hot room and cold room, difference in feedings. Go.
Hot room. Well, you've already answered this. So, a hot room, you want to give a lower EC. That's because of transpiration. Hot rooms, plants will transpire more, means they drink water and lose water through the leaves, because that is the plant's method of cooling. So in a hot room, they're going to drink more. If you're given a high EC, then they're also going to eat more. So you're going to burn your plants and you're going to have those brown spots on the end of your leaves. Hot room, lower your EC and increase the amount that you water, because also a lot of water that you give it will be lost to evaporation. So when you lose water to evaporation, that also concentrates the salts in the medium. So everything you're doing is increasing EC, and it's not good in hot.
You're running out,
In
lad.
cold, though, you want to give a high EC or a higher EC, because the plants drink less. So when they do drink, you want to give them the right amount of feed to get them through. So in cold rooms, EC higher and water less often. Like that, don't you? I think, was that your last question?
No.
Here's my last question then. Big B's top 3 products. What are they and why?
Top 3.
Top 3. I like nice, easy one for you to finish off so you don't kick me on the way out.
Flour-based.
No.
Flour-based.
Stop. You just wasted 10 seconds by relaxing. Reset. Top 3 products and why. Go.
Flour-based, my top, number 1.
Okay.
It's Bosch goes in the last week of veg, first 2 weeks of flour, but they have changed the label on the bottle. Now says first 3 weeks, which is a bit but I still use it in the last week of veg, first 2 weeks of flour. Second product will be Regenerate by CX Hydroponics. I like it. It's cheap, it's cheerful, works, value for money, value per 1 mil per litre, so 5 litre, £60, 5,000 litres of water, good product. Number 3, Explode. PK and boost in one bottle. It's perfect. Why are we whispering? I don't know. In case there's a bang of the Explode. Explode is me third product. I like it. It's cheap and cheerful, and it works. It does work. And that's 1 mil per litre, so a 1 litre bottle, roughly about £70. It's 1,000 litres of water. I know I've well gone over here. Just carry it on. There we go.
I was going to let you carry on now.
Flour based, Regenerate, Explode.
Oh, what a threesome.
Could have threw a bit of mammoth pee in there. Well, fucking left out, but never mind.
There you go. Gave 3 products. Right, hit me with your rhythm stick.
When's Barry building something?
Oh, fucking hell. The impossible question at the end there. Fuck knows. When are you going to build something? I had to get some Irish fella to build this desk. Some fella came in.
No, come on, keep going, mate. I'll stop.
Oh, I'm keep going. Barry, the last thing he put together was the wallpaper. No, that's not what
I've built. It's what I'm building.
What you're going to build.
Keep going, mate.
So Barry, when he brings his toolkits into work, the next time he brings them in, he's going to build. I've always got it on me. Some seating, aren't you? You're going to be able to build a nice seating area because we've got a nice idea for some seats and some bespoke cushions for the NPK Media office. And Barry's going to be putting together pallets, and he's going to be sanding them and smoothing them and varnishing them and nailing them together so that they don't slide as people sit on them. And it's going to be really good. And the next thing that Barry builds is surely to be one of the most brilliant, beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. Thank you, Barry Builds. Barry_NPK.
That's it, we're done, mate.
I'm a minute, perfect. It's all good.
That's it.
There you go. You're done.
It's harder than you think, though, isn't it, when someone puts you on the spot like that?
I've been looking forward to this podcast, actually, because...
It's because you just wrote all fucking mad questions.
And it wasn't...
I give you pure easy ones, and I have to make a note.
There's not a single question. Stop looking at your phone. That was a great swipe, wasn't it? Got to give it to me.
I fucking swear, lad, I'll thump you in a minute.
Touch ID for WhatsApp.
Go on that, lad, and I'll show everyone something.
Oh...
You go on that, lad.
Me man Pace is already.
Yeah, your man Pace.
Yeah, you haven't got that against me anymore.
Pass me phone.
Bruce Lee, mate. Try and get it. No, you can't.
Fuck you, mate. Keep it.
So, don't you want to know what I've been up to for last week?
I know where you've been, mate.
Where have I been?
Yorkshire, Switzerland.
Yorkshire, Switzerland?
Yeah, Switzerland, just on the other side of Yorkshire.
Oh, yeah. So, Barry, I know you're not interested, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I've been to Switzerland. And
I don't want to know, mate.
We went to... I know you weren't there, and this is why I'm going to rub it in more, but you'd be glad to know we didn't do any skiing. There was a little bit of snow at the top, but we couldn't get there. It pissed down the whole time we were there. And we went to CANNA Trade, it's called. It's the trade show in Switzerland to promote CBD flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slim came with us, and he was impressed by the CBD flowers. Yeah, he loved it. He said he can't wait to get back home.
Yeah.
But he loves Switzerland as a country. And being able to see cannabis plants, CBD cannabis plants, just all around you on stands. So SANlight's stand was all of the lights, and they were growing CBD, low THC plants on the stand. It was great. Because obviously we don't get to grow them in the UK. And it's something different, isn't it? Something different from your average aubergine and your ground potato and your fruity tomato. So I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad you did, mate. I was here stuck in the shop.
Stuck in the shop?
Stuck in the shop, mate. We're stuck with Grandad all week.
Where's the tan come from then, mate?
I haven't got a tan.
You've got a bit of a tan. You're looking like... your hair's a bit long.
Yeah,
we're sorting that out later.
Look at that, mate. It's fucking...
I'm not even... I'm not going to take my cap off.
Go on.
No.
Just take it off.
No.
Doesn't look like anything. You could turn your head upside down. You'd look the same.
The beard needs a trim. It does. I won't deny it. But... yeah, Switzerland was good. And then we went on to film at SANlight. So we've done some...
LEDs.
Yeah, LEDs. And that leads me on nicely to hopefully next week's podcast. Next week's podcast is going to be all about LEDs. You tired there, B? Or LEDs just a boring subject to you?
I've been working hard this morning, mate.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, makes a change.
Doesn't it?
That's how often. This is probably the first time in.
Don't all get to,
15
showing off to
podcasts.
Yorkshire for 4 days in the spa, come back from Switzerland, and
Who went to a spa for 4 days?
I know you were kidding me.
Was that a Freudian slip and it's actually been you at the spa?
No, I haven't been to one for ages.
Yeah.
You haven't?
Yeah.
Due one, I'm overdue.
You pay, I'll go with you.
I don't want you to come to the spa with me. I'm going to relax.
I'll bring me man purse.
Got to get away from you.
So next week's podcast all about LEDs. I don't think we've ever really done a really good in-depth podcast on LEDs, so we're going to go into it. We're going to go into efficiencies of LEDs, and I'm also going to answer the question of, do LEDs produce as much heat as a HPS? Does a 600 watt LED
I know the answer.
produce as much heat as a 600 watt HPS? No, I don't, because we're going to discuss it next week. We're going to discuss it next week. Don't ruin it. I've left it on a cliffhanger. Josh, Goats, finish it there. Actually, no, let's read out some questions before we go. I know Barry's absolutely hanging, so we're going to make this a little bit harder for him as he checks his messages. So, a few questions come up. Is pH necessary every water and soil? If you're using organic feed, pH isn't necessary at all in soil. And if you're just growing minerally in soil, then pH is not, it's the least necessary. It's still good to do. Keep your head on it. Keep your eye on the ball. But it's not necessary. In soil, I find it best to check the runoff EC, then you can adjust the feed strength as it can build up. That's absolutely spot on. A lot of people will just run a really good EC all the way in early veg, mid flower, late flower. And then when they test the runoff and they've been putting it at 2.2, if they haven't been watering until runoff, then you can get ECs as high as 4 on your runoff, and that shocks people. What else have we got? Oh yeah, I'm going to say again, B, getting ruined by Steve. I'm bang on 60 seconds every time. Just thought I'd give that a little repeat for you. And Matt said, what is the ideal EC for peak veg and peak flower? Start with local tap water EC of 0.3. And should you go for the soft water versions of Newts with that starting EC? So it does depend on environment, like we talked about. If it's hot, run a lower EC. If it's cold, run a higher EC. But around the region of 1.3 to 1.5 in peak veg, and in peak flower, anything around 2 to 2.2. You can take it high if you want to, but that's you. Grower led. I think if you had it around 2, you're not going to have any problems. But obviously, it's all up to the grower to look at the plant's feedback to you, and adjust accordingly. Pete's back garden said, Steve 9, B1. I'd like to know which one that he got. So I beat 9-1 in terms of eloquence, efficiency, how much. And you're also a brilliant watch. Cheers, lads. So thank you very much. And Josh has said, everybody else, thanks for joining this week, and hopefully see you next week at 4 o'clock, because these gobshites can't get in at time for podcast 178 LEDs. Josh, there's no need to put that, mate. For you now. Everyone that's watching live, thank you very much. And before we go, we're going to say thank you to the partners. Now you've got 1 minute to say thank you to the partners. Go.
AutoPot Watering Systems, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to produce such a lovely live show.
CANNA Nutrients, thank you very much for this opportunity to promote and produce this live podcast.
Can Filters, where would we be without you?
Where would we be without you?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Obviously, I'm exaggerating it, but that's what I heard. Cabiltes, SANlight, thank you for an absolutely awesome 5 days. It was brilliant. And thank you very much for being partners of the podcast. Truly, truly amazing people, and lovely to spend some time with you last week.
Revolution Micro. Yeah, that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it does the Diva. That's the make of the light, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the make of the...
Thank you very much for being a partner in this lovely live show.
So that's AutoPot, CANNA, Can Filters, SANlight, and Revolution Microelectronics.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, because without them, we truly couldn't produce this podcast.
Fucked.
We would. So thank you very much. Go and support them on social medias and definitely make them a buying consideration if you're looking to get any new pieces of kit. I'll see you all next week at 4:00. Otherwise, Josh is going to punch both of our heads in. And have a great Sunday for this Sunday, and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday if you're watching live. Bye-bye.
Ta-ra.